Hi guys, welcome to my channel Psychology. I'm Alina and I like to talk about things on the internet and give my opinion on it and see what we can learn from it. Today we're talking about Gabby Hanna and the things that have happened on Twitter lately, and I think there's a lot we can learn from it. The aim of this video is not to condemn somebody as I don't want to side with anyone saying that Gabby is right or XYZ is right. I'm just going to try to see what we can learn from the situation and how to avoid being in the same spot that Gabby is right now. Just a brief background of who we are talking about. Gabby Hanna is a famous YouTuber, an American YouTuber. She had been friends with another YouTuber whose name is Jessie Smiles. They were friends, roommates, best friends. And a few years back they had a falling out. And for a long time it was not known to the public as to the real reason as to why they had a falling out. On a separate note, Jessie had been sexually assaulted by her boyfriend, and he had been taken to court and he had pleaded guilty in front of the judge. So this has happened. It's real. Many people speculated that the reason they broke up, that the reason why Jessie and Gabby stopped talking was because Gabby sided with Jessie's ex-boyfriend and supported him and called Jessie a liar and trying to do all these things for attention. That was the speculation all this time, and nobody really knew the exact reason. So many fans of Jessie's and Gabby's have sworn that they have seen some kind of tweets floating around, but they've never had like real screenshots to prove that this has really happened and that she's actually sided with Jessie's ex-boyfriend. Now all these claims of Gabby siding with Jessie's ex-boyfriend have been through tweets, and these tweets weren't readily available, or they were deleted. A lot of the tweets were deleted, so nobody really had proof or screenshots. Sometime around last year, Gabby reached out to a fan of Jessie's and tried to convince the fan that what she saw and what she had allegedly seen about these tweets wasn't real, and that these tweets did not exist, and she never tweeted out these things in the first place. And during that conversation, Gabby ended up revealing a lot of private information about Jessie, some of which being along the lines of that Jessie was diagnosed with depression and that she'd been on antidepressants. Another being that she had been job hunting, that Jessie had been job hunting and had asked Gabby for any work that she could possibly assign, which almost sounded in a way that as if she was putting Jessie down by saying like, oh, I am so successful and I'm on top, and my ex-best friend is now coming to me for work. That's how it sounded. A lot of these things should have remained private and should not have ever been shared with the fan in the first place, in my opinion. But the fan ended up going to Jessie and sharing these screenshots of her conversation with Gabby and showing her how she had actually shared so much private information. And that's when Jessie put out her video explaining and trying to put a stop to everything that had happened. And that was the end of it. And a lot of people had changed their opinions about Gabby by then, because seeing the screenshots of her releasing this private information about Jessie made them think a certain way. Since then, I won't lie, Gabby has been getting quite a lot of hate, even down under her Twitter posts or even her YouTube comments, regardless of the real reason as to why they must have broken up. One thing we do know for sure, and both parties have confirmed, is that both of them were in a very toxic friendship and that both of them were really abusive towards each other. This has been confirmed by both parties. So that's why I do not want to side with anybody, because I'm pretty sure both have been hurt in their own different ways. A few months after Jessie came out with her video exposing these screenshots that Gabby had with a fan, a few months later, Jessie came out with another video that had Gabby's name in the title, but it was not completely about Gabby. She just addressed a question. It was a Q&A video, and a fan had asked Jessie whether Gabby had reached out to Jessie and apologized to her. And Jessie said that no, she hadn't apologized, she hadn't reached out. Now that that background has been given, I'm going to start off where the exact why did this even come up in the first place now that so many months have gone by. Now, coincidentally, the week that Jessie made her second video that had Gabby's name in it, apparently that was the same week that Gabby was going to release her new album, her new single. If you don't know, Gabby is a musician as well. Where this all kicks off is that Gabby uploaded a snippet of her podcast where she's talking about what happened with Jessie Smiles, and I'll put the video here. It's very visible here in the video itself that Gabby is really pissed, and it almost comes off as very hostile, the way she's talking and the way she's addressing the situation. That's one observation I made right off the bat. And regardless of who's right or who's wrong, you can see very clearly that Gabby's feelings have been hurt. In response to that video, a fan replied to her, "Ooh, but girl, you think we just gonna forget that you did all that in a fan's DMs? Nah sis, you ain't innocent. You really think Jessie cares so much about you that she'd sabotage your video? Yikes." In response to that, Gabby said, "Jessie has been talking shit about me unprovoked to fans for years. She has harassed and baited me for years with no response from me. I want you to remember this line, with no response from me." Going ahead, "I responded to dispel a rumor that she and Jen started years ago. She's been waiting for the right moment and now just found an excuse. Then a fan wrote, "To my knowledge, Jessie never told anyone about the medicine she was on. I haven't been following Jessie, so I could be wrong. If I am, I do genuinely apologize." And Gabby responded, "In Jessie's own video, she says that she spoke about it publicly. She had an entire video detailing her experience with medication. This was public info back then. As a fan, I assume Diana already knew about that." Diana being the fan that Gabby spoke to. Now, in my very humble opinion, I don't think you should be talking about somebody else's mental illness to prove a point, because what Gabby did back then while talking to this fan was she was trying to prove a point that Jessie was on all these medications and hence she was acting weird, which is basically using mental illness as a weapon. And I don't think, regardless of whether that person has spoken about it or no, I don't think you should be doing that. It's the way you portrayed it made it look like she was this crazy person for having taken antidepressants. Then Gabby retweeted this one post. "There's a difference between starting drama and defending yourself against lies after being gaslighted and manipulated into silence for 7 months." There is a pattern in her tweets going forward. She says, "I offered a private convo to Jessie and Alex and was met with harassment and threats after politely asking for a few days to get her emotions leveled out and get a mediator. It went on for days and I realized it was never going to be a productive conversation. I also, through extensive work in therapy and discussions with friends close to the situation, decided that it's time I stop offering kindness to those who have done nothing but try and hurt me. 6 years. How many times do we need to be cool before this happens again? This is about me breaking a years-long cycle of mental abuse, harassment, defamation, blackmail, and toxicity from someone I had a 6-month friendship with in 2014 to 2015. Enough." Now here's the crux of my video. If you see a pattern in her tweets and the way she's responded, starting from the first podcast clip that she uploaded, in which she's been really pissed and she's trying to explain that she's been silent for so long, and so that frustration piles up on and on and on. And according to what Gabby has said, it's been piling up for years. So it's been, according to Gabby, it's been years of just Jessie doing things to her and Gabby just sitting on the sidelines and not doing anything to protect herself. Now, whether or not in reality this is exactly what happened, my point of this video is to educate the viewers about this thing called assertiveness, and try to better themselves. If they see that they have been following a pattern where they haven't been assertive with their friends or with people around them, then what can they do? What I think has happened here is a classic example of non-assertiveness. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I want to make it clear of what kind of a place I am coming from. So, I am a master's student in clinical psychology. I'm almost pretty much done with my post-graduation, and I'm just waiting for COVID to get over so that I can finally graduate. I think you could call me an aspiring mental health professional. Everything I'm going to talk about are things I have learned. I would putting my tinfoil hat here, and based off of what we can see, I can only speculate that this is probably what has happened. A lot of fights happened in between them. A source of these fights could have been that during their entire friendship, Gabby may have been non-assertive. So what is assertiveness? Assertiveness is trying to make the other person respect you, respect your boundaries, and say in a matter-of-fact statement that these are the things I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm going through, rather than trying to manipulate them into thinking in a certain way, but trying to be very level-headed and rational when you're trying to do that. A very simple example would be if you thought your roommate has been unfairly messing up the room and that it's been causing you inconveniences, whatever it could be, that maybe your classmates have been coming over to your room, and then because of your roommate's mess, you have felt embarrassed in front of them, or anything. Instead of trying to accuse your roommate and getting angry at them, you can be assertive towards them and be like, hey, I'd appreciate if you don't litter the room. Now, there are three responses to such a stressful situation. You can either be non-assertive, as in be completely silent and not say anything, not stand up for your rights at all. The second is you could be assertive, and the example I just stated, or third, you could be aggressive. So now with the roommate situation, if I had to be non-assertive, I would keep getting shit on basically by my roommate and just keep quiet about it because I don't want to have a confrontation. That would be non-assertiveness. Assertiveness would be me just telling them that, hey, I don't like it, please try to be better. And aggression would be me going directly to them and being like, and having an entire fight with them. There are many reasons as to why non-assertiveness could happen. It could be because you're scared of confrontation, or you're scared that the other person will consider it as a hostile attempt. Another reason for non-assertiveness is that the person displaying non-assertiveness is scared of losing that relationship. So many a times we tolerate whatever is happening to us because we're simply scared of losing that person. Being assertive may seem rude in the short term, but it improves your relationships and your quality of life in the long run. Whereas being non-assertive, in the short run, it can seem like a good thing. Like everybody will be like, oh, you know what? This person is a really easy person to get through. This person's very chill. This person's very cool. But what happens is that the other people start taking you for granted slowly, because they've been so used to you being silent when you're being shit all over, and they may start pushing your buttons a little bit more. So what happens is that a lot of times people who are non-assertive end up becoming resentful in the long run because of being taken advantage of in the long run, because they're just tired of being treated like crap. Now, coming to the third reaction that we'd spoken about, aggression, it's kind of interconnected, but one of the main reasons why aggression takes place during such tense situations, an aggressive response, is because you have been non-assertive for so long that now you're just tired of being crapped upon, and now you just burst out. It's like you've been storing this anger, you've been suppressing it for so long, and then you just explode. Now, what ends up happening most of the time when somebody explodes like this, like randomly out of nowhere, is that others around this person may be surprised and may even think that you're overreacting. So a lot of people will think that it's unwarranted anger. But from that person's point of view, it may not seem unwarranted because you've been biting your tongue and keeping quiet about things that have actually bothered you, that she's always been silenced, she's never defended herself. I think it's pretty clear that we can see that she's been non-assertive this entire time. And now that I don't know for what reason, what triggered her to suddenly put out this podcast and this clip on Twitter, but whatever it is, it triggered her and now she feels like going off. So maybe that helps us all understand as to why she's been suddenly just seemingly out of nowhere, popping off on Twitter. Now, I don't want to get into the rest of the drama that ensued, but it doesn't look good for either of the parties. Basically, someone was able to dig up the actual screenshots in which Gabby did basically take the side of Jesse's ex-boyfriend and accused Jesse of being a liar. I'll put up the screenshot over here. Jesse basically confirmed whatever was there in the screenshot, and this no doubt makes Gabby look bad because now there's proof. And Gabby released screen recordings of Jen Dent, who is Jesse's very good friend, using the N-word and being racist. So now Jesse's party does not look good either. Now you could make the argument that your friend's actions do not reflect you, but in this entire story, Jen had been one really crucial key element. So the thing is now, like based off what proof we have, things don't look good for either parties. They both might have done at some point shitty things to each other, and that both of them might have hurt each other in some way or another. There's a very good saying in Hindi that tali ek haath se nahi bajti, which translated into English would mean that you cannot clap with just one hand, you need both hands to clap. But what practical utility does it have in our life? First and foremost, we need to understand how important assertiveness is in our lives. And assertiveness really could be a bigger problem than any of us could think. When your friends want to take your clothes and you're not able to tell them, hey, no, don't take my clothes. I want this, I want to wear this the next time, but you're not able to do that because you don't want to sound rude. It can be as silly as that, or it can be as serious as being in a situation which could get sexual very soon, but you don't feel comfortable enough to firmly and directly say that you want to get out of here, that you don't want to be involved with that other person. What can we do in order to be assertive? DSE model, DESC, and it is describe, express, specify, and consequence. Now, these are 4 points you must remember while trying to be assertive with the person that you want to talk to. The first point is describe. You have to describe what the event is, what the situation is that made you feel uncomfortable. If you want to describe the situation to your roommate while confronting her, you would say, hey, this is the problem. You mess up the room, you leave it disorganized. Second point is expression. Expressing what your feelings are about this situation. So you tell them that, hey, you've already described the situation. This makes me feel hurt. This makes me feel annoyed. One thing we need to be very careful while expressing these emotions of ours is to use I language instead of you language. I language is a statement that starts with I feel hurt. You language would be more like you made me angry. When we use you language is more accusatory. It makes it seem like it's all the fault of the listener. So the listener will be less likely to listen to your criticism if you use you language, saying that you made me angry and you're the reason for all of this. The third step is to specify what the ideal outcome would be. So you would be telling your roommate, I expect you to tidy your room by the end of the evening. The fourth point to remember is consequence. So for example, something like you could tell your roommate, if you continue to do this again, for the next week you'd be the one to do the laundry or you'd be the one to do the dishes. So that would be the consequence. Leave a few links in the description in case you want to read more about assertiveness and how to be assertive. And main thing about being assertive is that you're letting others know that you respect yourself and you respect your own boundaries, and that makes you grow this different kind of respect for yourself, and seeing how you treat yourself will make others treat you with an extra renewed respect. I hope that all of you were able to learn something valuable out of this. I know this was some drama related issue, but I just like to do something like this where we're able to take topics that are happening around us and try to learn how to better ourselves with it. So let me know in the comments if you want me to include any other type of mental health issue in the comment section, so I can inculcate them in another video. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys whenever I upload next, which may be tomorrow or maybe 10 days later. I don't know. Okay, bye.